Your phone chimes with an email from your digital course student at 11 p.m. on Friday night. They are going through Module 2 and they're stuck. There's this typo in the worksheet and it doesn't match up with what you are saying in your course video. The student says that they want to make it through your online course, but this is creating a huge roadblock for them. Immediately, you regret picking up your phone to browse funny cat videos as you unwind from your week because that's what led to you seeing the notification. And the second feeling is one of dread and worry. You've already shut down your computer for the day. It's 11 p.m. at night, but you don't want a student to get frustrated with you. You're wondering what that issue between the worksheet and the video is because as much as you rack your brain, you can't quite figure out what could have happened. And as you start to go through the scenarios in your head, you notice that your heart rate is starting to speed up as you wonder if the student will go into the community and start complaining and get everyone riled up, or if they'll ask for a refund when you've already transferred that money out of Stripe. We've all had these moments of panic where a student needs support, but we are not available. Whether it's because we're tending to a medical appointment or we've shut down for the day. As small business owners, as creators of online courses, what's the right answer here? And I can tell you right now, it is not to jump up at 11 p.m. on a Friday night to figure out what is going on. That is the fastest way to entrepreneur burnout. As with many things in life, the key is really in prevention. Today, we are going to talk about 3 actions you can take to amp up your student support without heading into burnout at 90 miles per hour.
Anyone can add a digital course to their business. So what sets the 6-figure course creators apart? You're about to find out. Welcome to the Digital Course Creator Podcast with Dr. Maura, a longtime entrepreneur now using her PhD in psychology to help you go from sticky notes to sales worth celebrating.
When I first started teaching online courses, I remember the frantic emails I would get at 11:30 p.m. on a Sunday evening demanding that I help a student ahead of their 11:59 p.m. deadline for an assignment. In my early years, I would jump back on the computer and work to help them fix the issue. I've been known to proctor exams on Zoom until midnight. I have definitely answered emails 7 days a week for 15 weeks straight in the past. But not anymore. And you know why? It doesn't help our students to have balance, and it is the quickest way to burnout as a digital course creator. Just because the internet is available 24/7 doesn't mean that as a digital course creator, we have to be available 24/7. There are a lot of differences between the internet and us as a creator. First and foremost, we are not machines. We need routine sleep and feeding to function at our best. We need downtime. In fact, even machines have to be shut down periodically and maintained. Even they need a break. So if the answer to student support, student satisfaction, stellar customer service ratings, a great student experience, and some downtime for us as creators is not having a 24/7 support line for our students, what is? Well, as I mentioned, it's prevention. The key is prevention. And today I'm sharing with you 3 ideas that will have the biggest impact on your student experience and those customer support satisfaction ratings. And it doesn't require, in fact, none of the 3 require you to be online 24/7 and definitely not at 11 p.m. on Friday when you just want to watch those funny cat videos, or in my case, horse videos. One important and critical step to creating a student customer service experience that has your students raving in a good way is to build out an onboarding process that helps them feel secure in what you will be providing. Oftentimes, when customer service goes awry, it's because our expectations, they're out of alignment with reality. If we had been told that there will be student support for 7 days a week, but then you go 3 days before getting a response back, it creates anxiety. Our students have taken a leap of faith that our course, it will help them. They're trusting us to guide them along this pathway. And so we need to let them know what to expect. If you plan to take weekends off, for example, let your students know that in an onboarding video series. Share that any communications received after 12 p.m. on Friday, for instance, they'll be responded to the following Monday. If you want to give yourself a 48-hour response time on emails from students, let them know that. You can even set up, I love email these days, you can set up an autoresponder that says, hey, just as a quick reminder, you'll hear back from me within 48 business hours. And this is along the lines of boundaries, right? And I'll talk more about boundaries in our 60-second solution at the end of today's episode, because I know this is something that we all struggle with, and I'll give you the key to not only setting, but sticking to your boundaries with students. Now back to onboarding. Another thing that you can do that directly addresses the oopsies that you are going to have in your course when there's a typo, a video that doesn't play quite right, or the download, you forgot to remove the password on it by accident. And so it's not usable. What we want to do is during onboarding, create a video or a text document in that onboarding series that lets people know you are human. And more specifically, you are a human who is imperfect. You can let them know that you have tried your absolute best to create a flaw-free learning environment for them, but every once in a while, there is a gremlin that sneaks in and it mucks with things. You can apologize and tell them that you always appreciate when they share the challenge that they're having, whether it's a tiny typo that they noticed or it's a big error, like you forgot to hit publish on that video you swapped out last week. You can always tie this back to whatever content you're teaching by sharing that just like whatever they're creating, whether it's a cake decorating technique, a step-by-step process to help your child learn to read, or underwater basket weaving, that there will be some missteps along the way. You might end up with a cake that is not so pristine. You might end up making a mistake in teaching your child how to sound out a specific letter. You might choose the wrong material for your underwater basket. That these errors, these mistakes, they're just part of the learning process. And it's a reminder that we are all imperfect and on a journey. By creating a dedicated onboarding video series that helps students to have realistic expectations of you and the course and how you will serve them, you are paving the way to a happy student. And you're avoiding burnout as a customer support rep for your course because you don't have to respond to that 11 p.m. Friday night email that says, this is a roadblock and I can't believe this has happened. You can say, you know what? I'm going to go back to my cat videos and I'm going to answer that first thing Monday morning. Your students already know that you're going to respond to them on Monday morning. Now, creating a stellar student experience from a customer service standpoint isn't just about being available via email or letting students know what to expect from you as they first get started in your course. You want to be sure that you are creating a well-rounded approach that focuses on prevention so that you rarely or never have to do any kind of damage control. Creating clear email communications that let students know what to expect each week, to summarize what has happened the previous week, and maybe provide some insights into something that they might have missed that's important, that's going to help your students feel like you are walking right alongside them, even if you've implemented that 48-hour policy of returning emails. They know that you're there with them. I do something like this every single week in my college classes. I send out an announcement that highlights what we covered, what we will be covering, and what is expected of them in the next week. And then I take it a step further and I preview the following week in case anyone's reading ahead or working ahead. And at the end of the semester, I always get emails from students noting that this was probably the most helpful thing as a professor that I did for them. You know, they can get due dates off of the syllabus. Yes, they can read the chapter intro and listen to the lecture to figure out what they'll be learning. But when we recognize that our digital course students, they're busy, we can see how those summaries that we've created become invaluable. They become a guidepost to keep moving forward instead of getting stuck in the weeds. And when our students keep moving forward, they are having a good experience. So what does this look like in reality for a digital course? It might be something like a video message that's embedded in an email, or it could just be an email that's typed out that says something like, hey, welcome to the week. If you are following along in the course plan, this week we are digging into Module 4. We have already learned how to X, Y, and Z, and now we get to take those skills and we apply them to A, B, and C. The awesome thing is that you'll notice that even though this is slightly new, you've seen bits and pieces of it in Modules 2 and 3. You're already part of the way there. So this week, what I'd like you to do is go ahead and listen to the Module 4 videos. That will take you about 30 minutes total. And then you can hop over to our course workbook and take a look at and complete pages S, T, and R. That's really going to set you up for next week, where we move into Module 5 and start looking at O, P, and R. Truly, sending this kind of email, posting it in the community space that you create, not only generates momentum, but it also gives them a sense of strategy and it boosts your authority. Students see that you have a plan for them and they're following along, so they're going to get the result that you shared with them at the beginning of the course. By creating these kinds of clear communications, your student experience leaves your students feeling confident, overall happier, even when they do encounter the tech hiccups, the missing bonus, or the last minute call change from this Tuesday to next Tuesday because, I'm sorry, I got the flu and I really don't want to show up like this for you. They are much more settled. They're happier. They're more satisfied with the course experience when you create clear communications like these. And that brings me to our third and final prevention tip for today. Creating a solid student support experience so that you don't burn out with late night emails, early morning rants left in your DMs, or the viral community post that roasts a typo. The key to longevity is creating that solid student experience as a digital course creator. Now, it might sound like I'm saying that you don't want your community space to be active or for your students to speak up and out about issues, but that couldn't be further from the truth. We just want to create an environment where students are generally viewing things from a glass is half full mentality. Now, we can't always influence that, but with effort, we can sway it in our direction. In reality, the third tip to creating a student support process that thrives is to have opportunities to ask questions and get feedback, to share feedback with us. One of the biggest things that leads to students feeling left behind or getting stuck or even angry that they're not making progress is when they purchase a course and then they feel alone. We all have questions. We all need a little help. We can create great customer service for our students by setting up intentional chances to ask questions, to share feedback, to get feedback on their work. And it doesn't have to take up all of your time. I'm talking about maybe a weekly or twice monthly, even a monthly Q&A session that lasts 60 minutes. Or perhaps a weekly post where students can post their question and you respond either via text or with a video response that same week. We can also set the standard that others around us have expertise that we can tap into. They don't have to wait for or rely just on us as the course creator to chime in. In fact, there's one group that I'm a part of, and you are not allowed to tag the course creators in the Facebook group because it discourages anyone else from answering and providing insights. And it's true. The posts where someone forgets the rule and tags one of the course creators, no one responds. The posts where the course creators are not tagged, everyone jumps in to try and help. So when you are setting up these opportunities to ask questions, you do need to have boundaries in place, otherwise it can take over. And we're going to talk about boundaries in just a little while in our 60-second solution. Because without those boundaries, you do end up with a post in your group that asks a question at 11 p.m. on Friday night, and then a Saturday morning comment asking why you, as the course creator, has not responded in the last 8 hours. Or you end up with a student who is constantly flooding your email inbox with question after question that could be answered by searching the community space or showing up to those live Q&As to get a succinct yet detailed answer all at once. The goal really here is to make sure that students in our digital courses have a chance to ask questions, because when they feel isolated, they do not feel supported, and certainly they are not experiencing great customer service. And that brings me to my favorite part of the episode. You know where I'm going with this, the part where I ask you to take action. We've talked about 3 different prevention tips today to create a fantastic customer service experience for our digital course students that rivals the best of the best. We need to focus on creating a digital course experience that is absolutely awesome for our students. Because first, this is what we should expect of ourselves. We should expect ourselves to create a good experience. Our students should expect this of us. They deserve to get what they paid for and what we as our course creators have promised. But it doesn't mean that we have to be available 24/7 or that we hire a customer support team across the world to handle those middle of the night queries. It doesn't mean that we have to burn out in support of our students, because then we can't support anyone. Instead, we can simply put into place a few preventive measures to ensure that students have a good experience and that they receive the support they need, but with boundaries. And like I said, we're going to talk about boundaries in just a minute. But first, what action are you going to take for your course? Let me give you a few ideas. If you are building your first digital course, start thinking about how you will create an onboarding experience that sets expectations as well as assures your students that you will be available to help them. If it's been a while since you spiced up your online course student emails, now's a great time. Set a reminder on your phone to send out a weekly email to highlight something in the course, maybe to provide some suggestions for getting content done or sharing the plan for the week if you have a cohort who is moving through the course together. And finally, one last idea. If you have an active course running, it might even already be evergreened so that you're bringing students in every day. You can look at your schedule and find opportunities to integrate Q&A times for your students. Maybe it's a Zoom call, a Voxer chat. It might be a community post that invites questions that you'll answer within several days' time. It could be something else entirely, but hopefully that gets you thinking. I want you to find ways to give your students a chance to get their questions answered. That is an excellent way to amp up your customer service experience for your students. Now is the time to choose something to take action on and make it happen. So which will you choose for your course this week? And I know I promised you, if you are struggling to make that decision on where to take action because boundaries are a challenge for you, let's talk about that in our 60-second solution. Boundaries as a business owner are not just nice to have, they are a must-have if you want to create a business that has longevity. Without boundaries, you burn out because you are constantly on your phone or your computer 24/7 addressing student issues, answering content questions, and troubleshooting tech issues. We all need sleep. We all need time to recover. We are smarter, we're snappier, we're more customer service oriented when we've had a solid night of rest, some healthy food, and a chance to move our bodies. So how do we set boundaries? First of all, talk honestly with your students. Let them know that you appreciate that they're working through course material throughout the week and maybe even heavily on the weekends. Just like them, you need some downtime to better serve them. And so your schedule is that you'll be in the community once a day, Monday through Friday at maybe 1 p.m. You'll answer all the questions and then you're going to hop back out and you're going to sign off for the weekend after 1 p.m. on Friday so that you can recover, you can spend time with friends and family, you can take care of yourself. This means that when you show up on Monday, you're ready to go and answer those questions with renewed creativity and energy. You will have some pushback when you announce your boundaries. When you tell them, hey, listen, Monday through Friday until 1 p.m., I'm available in the community once a day, but that's it. But I want you to ask yourself, if that one student who really pushes back, because there's going to be one that just really gets frustrated with these boundaries, is that $500 or that $2,000 worth losing sleep, missing your child's birthday party or first step, or failing to have time to exercise even though your family has a high risk of coronary disease? Chances are the answer is no. It's not worth that $500 or that $2,000. Not every student is going to be a good fit for our course and for our business, and that's okay. That is truly the trick of maintaining our boundaries. Ask yourself, is it worth what I'm going to miss out on? The problems this will cause. Yes, you might find that you offer a refund to a student because they aren't happy and you don't want to compromise your life to fit their needs. But you will also find the more you lean into these boundaries and say, yes, I'm sticking to them, you will find that you begin to attract more students who are aligned with your values and goals. So go ahead, set those boundaries. Now, with student experiences on your mind, I'm coming back. What are you going to do this week to take action on amping up your customer service experience for your students? What are you going to do to not only safeguard your own boundaries, but weave that into your customer experience? If this has gotten your wheels spinning about the entire student experience, I want you to be sure to also check out episode 174, How to Get Students to Finish Your Digital Course, as well as episode 160, Creating Meaningful Course Objectives, the Essential Foundations for Course Creators. When we take time to carefully craft the student experience from onboarding to communications and a pathway through the material, what you're doing is creating a solid approach to customer service. It isn't about hiring a customer service team across the world so that you're available 24/7. In fact, it's all about how you craft the student experience from start to finish. Let me know your favorite way to deliver on student customer service in your business or in your course with a DM on Facebook or Instagram at Digital Course Creator Guide. And until next time, happy creating.